It's Christmas morning, and for a few dozen people, there's no snow falling on a quiet street, no family around a tree, no way home at all. They're thousands of miles from everyone they love, locked inside a ship frozen solid into the ice at the top of the world, and they won't be going anywhere for months. This is what Christmas is really like at the ends of the earth. To understand it, picture where they are, a ship deep in the polar ice, surrounded by frozen ocean in every direction, further from help than almost anyone on the planet. Outside it's dark, not evening dark, but the endless dark of polar winter where the sun doesn't rise for weeks. It's cold enough to kill an exposed person in minutes. And the nearest city, the nearest family, the nearest normal Christmas is 1,000 miles of ice away. These are the crews of polar ships and frozen-in expeditions. Some are seasoned sailors on their 10th winter. Some are scientists chasing data no one else can reach. And some are on their very first voyage, a 19-year-old spending the first Christmas of their life without a single member of their family in sight. What all of them do with the day is one of the most quietly moving things at sea, because here's the strange part. This ship isn't sailing anywhere. It's frozen in, sometimes trapped by the winter, sometimes locked into the ice on purpose to drift with it for science. The engines are quiet, the sea that would normally move beneath them is solid, groaning, pressing against the hull. Step outside, and you could walk away from your own ship across a frozen ocean into a darkness that goes on forever. Christmas arrives in that stillness. No ports, no visitors, no escape. Just the ship, the ice, and each other. The same few dozen faces they've lived beside for months and will for months more. And what they do next with almost nothing is the part that stays with them for the rest of their lives. Because even here, frozen in and going nowhere, the ship can never fully sleep. Not even on Christmas Day. Someone still has to stand watch. Someone has to keep the engines warm, the power running, the systems monitored, because out here, a failure isn't an inconvenience. In this cold, it's a threat to everyone's life. The ice shifts and groans against the hull, and it has to be watched. So while half the crew decorates the mess, the other half is on duty, keeping the little world alive so that everyone gets to have a Christmas at all. And many of them volunteered for exactly this. Someone had to be out here over the holidays and and they raised their hand so that a colleague with young kids could be home instead. That quiet trade is its own kind of gift, because these crews refuse to let the day pass like any other. Out of a ship full of steel and supplies, they build Christmas from scratch. A tree appears, made of wire or wood or a mop handle wrapped in green, decorated with whatever the ship can spare. Fairy lights come out of a drawer someone hid them in months ago. Handmade cards, small gifts, saved and wrapped in secret for weeks. A secret Santa drawn back in November, with whispered arguments over who pulled whose name. And someone always ends up in a red hat playing Santa, handing out parcels to grown men and women who suddenly feel 8 years old again. Every ship builds its own strange little traditions, quietly passed down from the crews who spent Christmas here long before them. And the cook, always the cook, works a miracle. On a ship that hasn't seen fresh supplies in months, somehow there's a proper Christmas dinner. The best meal of the entire voyage, served in a mess room strung with decorations, everyone in the one clean shirt they saved for today. They'll have hoarded ingredients for weeks for this one meal, a roast, something sweet. Maybe a taste of home from each crew member's country, because a polar crew is almost always a mix of nations, and Christmas becomes a strange, wonderful blend of everyone's traditions at once. For a few hours, a steel box in the ice becomes the warmest room on Earth, and there's one thing that makes this Christmas unlike any other on Earth. There is no daylight to wake up to. At the poles, in deep winter, the sun simply doesn't rise. Christmas morning looks exactly like Christmas midnight. The same black sky, the same frozen dark stretching in every direction. There's no dawn to open presents by, no low winter sun on the ice. Time itself gets strange out here. Without a sunrise, the crew keeps Christmas alive by the clock and by ritual alone. It should feel bleak. And yet somehow, all that darkness does the opposite. It makes the warm, lit mess room, full of decorations and people, glow even brighter. When the whole world outside is black and frozen, A single string of fairy lights feels like the sun, and out here, the smallest things become enormous. When you have nothing, everything matters. A single piece of fresh fruit saved for weeks. A chocolate bar smuggled aboard. A letter from home kept sealed until this exact morning, then read slowly, twice. A phone full of photos, scrolled slowly. A voice note played on repeat. The taste of something that pulls them, just for a second, back into a kitchen thousands of miles away. Things that would mean nothing, back on land, become the best gifts they've ever received. That's what isolation does. It strips away the clutter until you can feel the weight of every small kindness. A crew that has almost nothing learns exactly how much a little can mean, but there's one moment that breaks everyone a little. The call home. If they're lucky, there's a short window of connection, a crackly video call, a handful of messages, to a family gathered around a table on the other side of the world. Kids who are a year older, holding up drawings to the camera. A partner turning the phone around so they can see the tree, the table, the empty chair where they should be. A parent trying not to cry and failing. Sometimes the time zones are so far apart that their Christmas and their families don't even fall on the same day. They're calling into a celebration that's already over or hasn't started yet. For a few minutes, the ice disappears and they're home. And then the connection drops and they're back in the frozen dark, holding onto a face that's already gone. That's the quiet cost of this life. Being present for everyone at sea and absent for everyone at home on the one day it hurts the most. And yet, ask anyone who's done it and they'll tell you these are the Christmases they never forget. Because out here, stripped of everything that usually fills the day and the shopping, the noise, the crowds, what's left is the pure thing. A handful of people, a long way from home, choosing to be kind to each other in the dark. The aurora burning green and violet overhead as the whole crew steps out onto the ice to look at it together, breath freezing, no one saying much because some things don't need words. The overwhelming quiet of a frozen world that most people will never see. The strange, fierce closeness of a crew that has become out of pure necessity a family. There are no distractions left to hide behind, and no one to impress, just honesty and gratitude and whoever happens to be standing beside you at the bottom of the world. It's the loneliest Christmas on the planet, and somehow, for many of them, the most real one they've ever had. So that's Christmas frozen into the ice. No snow-covered streets, no family around the tree, no daylight even to open a present by. Just a few dozen people building warmth out of nothing, keeping their little world alive and taking care of each other at the coldest, darkest, most distant place a person can spend the day. It's proof of something quietly beautiful, that people will make Christmas out of almost anything, anywhere, as long as they're not entirely alone. The next time a holiday feels like too much, spare a thought for the crews out on the ice, raising a glass in a steel room 1,000 miles from home. If you want to keep going, the next one is just as extraordinary. How these crews hold onto their minds through 4 straight months of total darkness. That video's right here.